Hello. So for my service learning project, I chose to give 3 hours of my time to the FOCO Cafe in Fort Collins. So what the FOCO Cafe strives to do is to serve anybody and everybody with a nutritious meal, which is really big for them. Um, and the way that it works is that you show up and you're first thing when you walk in the door presented with an option of how you want to afford your meal for the day. So you can pay, and you can pay any amount. You can pay as much as you're able to afford. You can give extra. You can pay for other meals, additional meals, or you can pay with your time. So those who are homeless or in poverty, they can contribute to paying for their meal and paying for to keep the lights on through their time. So they can wash dishes, they can bus tables, they can help out in the community garden, they can help with donations. So there's a lot of different roles that they can do, and it's quite a cool little community that they have going on there. While I was there, I kind of did a lot of those things. I bussed tables, I stocked things, I kind of moseyed around and just got to talk to a bunch of different people, hear their stories, which is really cool. Kind of helped close the place when it was time. I helped collect payments or just talk to people about donations and such. I also helped collect some donations, and then I also myself got to sit down and have a meal, which was when I got to have a lot of time to talk to different people about their experience at the FOCO Cafe. So what I really liked about it was that, again, it felt like its own little community. It was really cool to watch people come in for a meal and then clean up their own dishes and kind of just grab an apron and get to work. It was just a really cool thing to see. I really liked my experience there, and I'll kind of get more into detail about that when we relate the experience to theories. So having this experience at the FOCO Cafe and then trying to relate it to theories that we're learning about in this class was actually pretty easy. So there were three main theories that really came to mind during this experience, and they are the ecological model, Bronfenbrenner's ecological model, the developmental niche, and then Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial development. So I would say the one that I'd like to start with is the developmental niche. What having this experience and relating it to the developmental niche really made me think of was the example of the robin and the pigeon. These are people who are living in the same community as me, but they're likely living very different lives. That is definitely a product of their development. And so it's just crazy to think about how we're living in the same community or the same park, and yet their experiences with homelessness or poverty have really contributed to how they have developed in the past and how they continue to develop. Whereas my own personal experiences, I've been very fortunate and privileged in my life, and that has no doubt contributed a lot to my personal development. So within the developmental niche, what I mostly think about are those physical and social settings and how they're impacting the development of those adults and those children that also came in. Next is Bronfenbrenner's ecological model. It really just got me thinking a lot about mostly the macro system, I would say, and how the macro system has contributed to homelessness, which seems to be such a prevalent issue in the United States. And so it kind of begs the question of how has the macro system in many ways contributed to all the homelessness and poverty that we see and how is that impacting people? How is that impacting their development? So yeah, just questions like that. But on the other hand, it also made me think about the exosystem, which is coming closer to the individual. And it seemed like the NoCo Cafe had a large contribution within the exosystem of those people. It seemed like so much more than just a place where they can get some food. It seemed like a real community for them. It seemed like a starting point where they can find resources, additional resources to help them. Like I said, that's what was so cool about the experiences. I was hearing a lot of conversations about the staff at FOCO Cafe between some of the people who were coming in for meals, and they were talking about resumes, they were talking about court hearings, they were talking about all kinds of things that were going on in their lives and the help that they needed, and the staff was just a walking resource to them, which was just so cool to them, or so cool to see, because no doubt having the FOCO Cafe and having those staff that run the FOCO Cafe is really impacting in a positive way their development, because it's just providing such a resource again. And then lastly is Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial development, which I really wanted to hone in on the adult stage, the generativity versus stagnation. And I think that society and the macro system has really limited the impact that the homeless and those in poverty feel like they can have. And it limits their ability to feel like they've successfully solved that crisis or are, solving that crisis. And which makes sense, because they're so concerned about making ends meet each and every day. It can be really hard to focus elsewhere when means of survival just kind of trump all other aspects of their daily life. And this is what it's like at the FOCO Cafe. It's allowed a lot of people to meet that basic need of getting nutritious food that not just puts food in their bellies, but puts good food in their bellies and the bellies of their children. But they also have the ability to give back. So they can go and take a meal that they need, and then they can give back with their time, which maybe that's all that they have. So it was really cool, because the people who were coming in and eating and then getting up and giving back their time, they would walk around with such pride. They had such a great work ethic, which was really cool to see, because I feel like it's a stereotype that people who are homeless or living in poverty, that they're lazy. So it really made me smile I just wanted everyone in my life to come see that, because I know that it's not true, but it was fun to witness. So yeah, I think it just really allows them to feel like they can give back to the community, and the FOCO Cafe gave so much to them. So it was good to see them give back. And again, you could see it on their faces that they were walking around with so much pride, and they felt good about what they were doing. And they were just meeting the needs of themselves and others at the same time. So that was really, really cool to watch. So that's how I relate it to the theories. Lastly, overall, I would just say that it was a really cool experience. I feel like it was a really important experience for me to have. It was definitely a humbling experience, and it just reinforced a lot of things I already believe or already know. And I don't know, there was just something different about getting to be a part of it and to witness it with my own eyes. So what I hope to do with this is just to get other people involved. I would really love to continue volunteering there, even if it's just 3 hours a month. If that's all I can give right now, it's such a cool experience and such a cool thing that they've got going on there. And I'd really like to get my family members involved and get my partner involved and bring them with me to just have this experience to be humbled and to just like give back to their community, because it's so important. I think we can all get really wrapped up in our everyday lives and get stressed about school. I know I do all the time. So I think it's just a good experience too. I think it's just good for the heart and for the mind and the soul to just take a step back and realize what other people are really going through. And just, it's a good place to like be thankful, because everyone there is so thankful. It just rubs off on you. So yeah, really cool experience. Thanks.